Hey dude, how are you?
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good. Good.
Cool. Yeah, what do you want to discuss?
So I have like some experience with a FAANG company, and I
Sure.
want to switch to like Quants.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how to do it. I did Leetcode. I'm doing OS. I'm doing system design.
Okay. So
I'm trying to learn.
you're currently working at a FAANG?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So great.
Uh, what languages do you currently write?
I use Java mostly, but
Okay.
I'm proficient in Python. I did my master's in data science. So
Okay. That all sounds like a relevant background. So you're somewhere in the US, like in San Francisco or something?
yeah, Seattle.
Okay. Um, and what steps so far have you taken? Like what's currently on your plate in terms of what do you think you need to make the
So
change?
I have done like 60 lead code problems. I'm still doing graphs right now.
Okay.
Um, uh, I think I still need some time before I start applying. I don't want to like get the interview and fail.
Right,
Um,
right. And you probably a good strategy would be don't interview at places you really want to work at first,
uh,
just in case you notice like, oh, they're not very receptive to me and I'm not doing very well. You know what I mean?
yes. So I got a referral for Facebook, and I'm trying some low-level companies at the start, and then I'll interview for like HRT, Citadel,
Sure.
October. Yeah.
Okay. And what's your question?
So what do you think I should do? Like, I'm still not confident. Like, uh,
So my study plan would be this. Effectively, most of these roles are either going to be Python heavy or they are going to be C++ heavy. If you are applying for Optiverse Citadel, they're most likely going to want you to do. Sorry, if you're applying for Optiver, Jump, not so much IMC, but any like buy side prop trading is going to be there's going to be a heavy focus on C++. There's no getting around that. It's more so the sell side like multi-strategy funds that are okay with Python. So you might notice like Millennium, for example, they might have like a position that's like almost exclusively Python. Um, you're going to see like a lot in that regard. That's going to be very Python heavy. So what I would do is I would focus on your getting your lead code down, getting your lead code down in the context of like the basics like arrays, strings, etc. Beyond that, I want you to. There's a really good book called, but it's more C++. That's the thing. That's why it's kind of hard to give you this advice. Essentially, have you heard? So have you heard of the? Let's talk about language agnostic concepts. Have you heard about the book Operating Systems 3 Easy Pieces?
no.
Okay, that's going to be a very key book you need to read because it's going to give you all the operating systems concepts you need to know. Concurrency. If I talk to you about virtual addresses, do you know what I'm referring to?
No.
No. Okay. If I talk to you about the translation look aside buffer, do you know what I'm referring to?
TLP. I've heard
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
If I talk to you
I
about
just.
if I talk to you about cache coherency, do you know what I'm referring to?
Yeah. Memory cache.
Yeah. If I talk to you about um, heap and stack, do you know what I'm referring to?
Data structures.
No. So that's important. So if I ask you to detail the 5 different types of code segments in a process, do you know what that is?
No.
Okay,
I
so
need to learn. Yeah.
yeah, so these are all important aspects that are language agnostic. So um, things like that are going to be very important. So I have a couple of video. I have a video on my channel called like the top five. I think it's called top five top five books every developer should read to break into Quant. That's going to be very important. What's your familiarity with concurrency? Do you write
Not much.
multi-threaded code?
No. I
Okay,
haven't.
interesting. Interesting. At FAANG, they don't ask you to write multi-threaded code.
I mean, I've worked for
Hi,
like
Daniel.
operation side for 9 months, and then I moved into product side, like developing a product. So. mostly it was operations side, like handling devices that might need some device update or OS patching.
Yeah, but that's
But
not concurrency.
yeah, I haven't worked with it.
Okay. Um. Hmm. So effectively, the concepts you're gonna. How familiar are you with the networking concepts? TCP/IP.
Um,
Um.
Pretty familiar. Yeah.
Okay. Um. How is a TCP connection established?
First, it sends like a request is sent. Like, I mean, I still have to like go through it, but
Right. So
yeah, it's a
that's a very
TCP
that's a very
protocols.
basic that's a very basic question, like the three-way handshake. So effectively, these are things that will almost immediately screen you out if you don't know. So I would focus on TCP/IP Illustrated Volume 1. I'd focus on Operating System 3 Easy Pieces. I would focus on Inside the Machine for Computer Architecture. I would focus on Anthony Williams' C++ Concurrency in Action. But that's going to be C++. That last one's going to be C++ related. And then I might also focus on, have you heard of the Gang of Four, the big book, the design patterns book?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with something like a singleton design pattern? It's okay if you
No.
don't. This is a no. There's 20 people watching. Nobody's gonna point and laugh. Nobody knows you.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So these are all important concepts, and those are, I think, the 5 books that I specified in that video.
I
Um,
see.
so these are all going to be important non-coding related concepts that have nothing to do with Leetcode. But they're going to ask you that
Mhm.
regardless. They're going to ask you about NUMA CPU architecture. They're going to ask you about a lot of different parts of the computer. They might ask you like about cache lines. And would you know what a cache line is? Do you
Yeah,
know what?
basically to save some time, you save most frequent like things you want to save, like O of one time, something like that, right?
That's not
Cache.
really a cache line. Um, have you heard of like cache associativity?
No.
Okay, so all these should be like setting off alarms in your head in terms of what you should study.
Yes.
So let me ask you this: what sort of familiarity do you have with databases? So what sort of databases have you? This is probably something that you're going to be more familiar with. What sort of databases do you have familiarity with?
So S3, basically work with S3 the whole time.
Is S3 a database? I thought that's just storage of files, a storage. I'm talking about like relational databases, not like I guess it's a database because it just stores data, but I'm talking about like database in the classic sense. Like when I say database, I mean like MySQL, Cassandra, MongoDB.
No, I didn't work on it.
Really?
I
So you don't have any like MySQL experience?
I mean, I learned it during my master's and bachelor's, but not in professional life, and I forgot. Like, I didn't
Okay.
forget.
So
Yeah.
what you're gonna need to know is essentially find a book that's related to MySQL, and then find another book that's related to some sort of NoSQL database like MongoDB or Cassandra. I like Cassandra a lot, but some people like MongoDB. It's up to them. Effectively, the concepts are very similar. So those are two database technologies you're going to need to become intimately familiar with.
Yeah,
Um,
just let me
write this
write this
down
down.
because these are unlisted for non patrons. These live streams.
Yeah. So I need to work on OS, basic concepts of OS, all
I'm I'm
TLDP memory.
I'm gonna say everything again. I don't want to have to repeat it a third time though. So operating systems,
Mhm.
networking, concurrency. Okay. What did I want to say? Design patterns and computer architecture. So inside the machine.
I see. Yeah.
And then obviously the databases. What do you write distributed microservice architecture? Client server architecture. So like, let me ask you this question. Let's say you have two servers. Um, let's say you have server A and server B. And server A wants to send server B information. How do you do that? Let's say you have two Python processes. and they want to communicate with each other on two separate machines. How do you do that?
Yeah, I feel really dumb right now.
No, so like when you work on stuff,
So if I can say it right,
I mean,
I
if you,
work on
I'm surprised that this hasn't been taught at like a FAANG, or hasn't been introduced to you at a FAANG. I'm not like disappointed in you. I'm kind of disappointed in the FAANG.
actually, you know what? There's a lot of small codes that you need to write rather than like handling big codes and basically services that everyday services. You basically do manual work every day, and it's very less coding, and it's always like fix this job, fix this job, fix this job, rather than okay, we are not going to have this problem again.
Interesting. I don't know. Seattle, I would think you're in the Amazon company, but whatever. It's not none of my business. But I'm surprised that this isn't taught at Amazon.
I mean, hmm, how do I put it? I did like data science, and I then switched to software engineering.
Yes. Well, but you're working at a major company, so like yeah, if it's the same computer, it would be like inter-process communication, sockets and pipes. If it's two different computers, it would probably be some sort of middleware. Have you heard of the term middleware?
Yeah.
So what is middleware? Give me an example.
Uh, I have heard of middleware in terms of security, where a middle person tries to like
No, that's not what middleware is. So middleware is like for communication purposes. It's message queues, yeah. Um, so have you heard of like REST API?
yes,
Have you heard of Kafka?
yes.
Have you heard of gRPC?
Uh,
Have you heard of Google Protobuf?
no,
Okay, well, I think the most popular one is probably Google Protobuf.
I see.
Yeah, so it's effectively a method. Yeah, it's a method to like communicate between two server, a client and a server, or a server and a server. So you're going to need to know how to do that. So you need to be Googling gRPC and go through tutorials. Just the thing is, that's why I'm so critical that you're on this call. So don't feel bad because you're gaining all the knowledge you need, so you won't feel bad when you're actually in the interview. I'd rather you feel bad now than you feel dumb in an interview, right?
Right.
Right. So effectively, these are all the concepts you're going to need to learn and master, either through projects or through going through tutorials or reading about them and just applying them in general. Because there's this overemphasis on Leetcode, and I think that's why one of the mods, Mole, said it so well. He's like, well, I don't care if somebody has a strong GPA, because like, in theory, a lot of people can game the GPA system and like know a lot, like have this strong GPA, but like they don't know half of these technologies that should be common practice in the industry. Um, Also, you should probably look into Wireshark. Have you heard about Wireshark before?
Mm, no.
Okay, it's a means by which to analyze network data, network traffic. Um, so effectively, how can I read like packets that have been sent on the network? How can I capture that information? What does it mean to capture that information? Right? So that will really make everything that I'm talking to you about a lot more concrete. Because you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what like a TCP/IP packet looks like. I get what like Ethernet is. How long would learning all this takes? This guy has a lot to learn in terms of what he needs to become proficient for the interview. I'd probably say, are you working a full-time job now?
No.
Oh, so you have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would say learning all this maybe 3 months, maybe
Yeah.
less.
I started a month ago, like 1.5 months ago, and I was preparing lead code and system design for the most part. I never like took this other topics into account, but yeah, I think. Do you think I will get a job till February? I was targeting January, February.
I don't like that question because what does it mean? Well, it's such a simple question. Like, do you think if I say yes, what are you gonna do? If I say no, what are you gonna do? Like, it literally changes nothing. I can say yes, I can say no, but none of it matters. It's like
Right.
it reminds me when I worked at BitMEX. And a lot of BitMEX is a cryptocurrency company. And a lot of people would ask the CEO, will Bitcoin do this? Will Bitcoin do that? And he'd always give them an answer. And then in the office, he'd laugh his ass off because he'd be like, I have no fucking idea. I just don't have any idea if you'll get a job. Like, I can't tell you yes or no.
I see.
All I
Right.
can
Thank
tell
you.
you, all I can tell you is what you should study. Whether or not you get a job, I mean, after that, it's up to you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you also help me with my resume if you have like
Not
I
on this
sent.
call. Not for $25 on a YouTube chat.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
I'll.
problem.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything else?
Yeah. But do you have any good resources I should like have tabs open like all the time?
Have what open? Sorry.
Tabs. So
What do you mean by that?
tabs. So on Google Chrome, if I have tabs open, I do work, and if I have YouTube open, I just watch YouTube. So I usually have a
Oh.
lot of tabs open, so I can just go.
Well, it depends. So, like, if you want to focus on learning C++, learn CPP.com, I think, or learn CPP.org is a really good resource. Other than that, everything that I've suggested is essentially from books. So you'll probably
I
want to have books open.
I don't like reading books. I like watching YouTube videos
That's
where
the
they intro.
problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem because that's lazy and it's not late. Well, I'm a little lazy, but it's easy. It's the easy way.
Yeah.
But it's not the effective way, especially for more tough, more concepts. I think maybe learning about databases can be done through videos. Learning the basics about a language can be done through videos, but maybe even learning the basics of like gRPC or Kafka could be done through videos. But like really getting it involves like reading a book detailed about it. Like the really good way to learn microservice architecture is to read about it. You can watch an introductory video to get like a good starter sense and use that information to discern whether or not this a given book about it's going to have relevant topics, but you're not going to get what you need out of just like like I make 10-minute videos and that's not enough to cover certain concepts.
See.
CPP reference, I don't really like it that much because it's just like a dump. It's very hard for new people to figure out what's relevant and what's not relevant from CPP reference. It's just like hundreds of sentences.
Una will be most pleased indeed.
Yeah, it's good for documentation, not for actual learning. Yeah. Anything else, brother?
No, thank you so much.
All right, cool.
I,
Thanks for calling in.
yeah.
Keep watching. I think you'll learn a good amount.
Yep.
All right, see ya.
See ya.